I'm excited. Here we are.
You're excited? Okay.
Oh, wait, that's a good sign.
I haven't seen you guys, so
Oh.
I'm excited to talk to you guys.
Oh my god.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We are your three favorite book besties. My name is Carlos.
I'm Rose.
And I'm Lauren.
And today we're going to be talking about Blood Over Bright Haven, which was my pick.
Woo!
I love this so much, by the way. Okay.
Showing your cards a little early.
Sorry, I had to.
Yeah, go ahead, read the little synopsis.
Damn, this shit's long as fuck.
Is the Goodreads one shorter?
Surely.
Yeah, I'll read the Goodreads one.
Wait, guys, before we start,
Oh
I have
my
not
god.
I know what you're
already
gonna
know.
say. I know
already
what you're
know.
gonna say.
You didn't know her fucking name. You didn't know her fucking name.
Wait, I have not said any of these names out loud before now.
I'm dead. Okay.
Oh god.
And then Sibidabdibda talk to Mr. Tamdabdibda.
Oh my god, I hate it here. An orphan since the age of 4, Siona has always had more to prove than her fellow students. For 20 years, she has devoted every waking moment to the study of magic, fueled by a mad desire to achieve the impossible, to be the first woman ever admitted to the High Magistry. When she finally claws her way up the ranks to become a high mage, however, she finds that her challenges have just begun. What neither Siona nor her peers realize is that her taciturn assistant was once more than a janitor. Before he mopped floors for the mages, Tomil was a nomadic hunter from beyond Tyran's magical barrier. 10 years have passed since he survived the perilous crossing that killed his family. But working for a high mage, he sees the opportunity to finally understand the forces that decimated his tribe, drove him from his homeland, and keep the Tyrannish in power. Though their fractious relationship, mage and outsider uncover an ancient secret that could change the course of magic forever. If it doesn't get them killed first. Siona has defied her life by the pursuit of truth, but how much is one truth worth with the fate of the civilization in the balance?
That spoiled like so much, I feel like.
Yeah, that did spoil a lot.
To be fair, I did not read the synopsis before reading
neither.
this book.
Me
I-
neither.
I watched a YouTuber reviewing it, and she was like, "Don't read the synopsis. Like, just go into it blind. Trust me, it's good." And yeah, that's what I did.
Like, cause there's first a little few like little twists, not really twists, but little reveals at the very beginning, where it's like, you knew it was gonna happen, but then it happened, and it was like, oh, whoa,
Yeah, what a wild beginning to a book. Like the first chapter
Yeah.
was just
The first chapter.
so good. Bananas.
Can we come to a consensus of how to say his name?
Tamil.
Tomil.
Yeah,
Tamil.
but then he goes through like this thing of how to pronounce it with the th sound.
Yeah, it's Thomil.
So, but we're gonna call him Tamil.
Well, you can say Thomil.
It just sounds like a thumb. I don't know if I love that.
Thomil.
Sounds like pommel.
We could just call him Tommy, but
No!
Not Tommy. Ugh.
Also, I feel like our podcast is cursed because I feel like every single book we have read has had vomit in it.
I literally saved that as one of
Me
my
too.
notes. I highlighted it.
3 times it happened. The first time I was like, Rose is gonna hate me. The second time, oh god, not again. And then the third time, I'm so sorry, Rose.
I was like, why? The first time it happened, I was like, first of all, it was kind of described a little bit, and I was like, I don't like that. And then it happened again. And I was like,
Yep.
oh.
Every single book I feel like we've done has had throw up in it.
Some type of, and I'm like, we've done such a mix of books. How does this happen?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's awful. Anyways, Tamil, we'll keep it at that.
Yep.
Him and his family are running across this like snowy ice place out in the ether. Not really in the ether, but
I wonder if they saw Vectel.
probably not. You should have had your mug. But they're out there running, and then the blight happens. And all the people, they're trying to run for refuge to this border. And along the way, everybody is getting hit with the blight. And the blight makes all their flesh and blood unravel from their bones. And what's
Yeah.
left is described as what? Like a red flower of blood, basically. So he was watching his people one by one die. I'm pretty sure there's only like 6 of them at this point. They're like the last of his
They
people.
started with 40.
With 40, oh,
Yeah.
by the time they get close to the
Mm,
border, there's only 6 of them.
yeah.
He watches his brother-in-law die, his sister. He finally, takes his niece and he makes it to the border. And what a start to watch his entire family just get obliterated.
And just like straight up the last of his tribe.
Literally.
Yeah.
There's only 2 of them left, Caldene.
That's
Yeah.
how I was pronouncing it.
And mind you, like how they're traveling, the snow is super high too. So it's already like hard to even get through before this Blythe is just not Blythe, Blight.
Blight.
I had to look up what that word meant, by the way, guys. It's not something I use in my common language. Um
Your common tongue.
Not the common tongue.
it was like blight, what is that? And I was like, oh, like a poison, like,
Yep.
just killing
Yeah, yeah.
things. So I was like, oh, okay. I understand. I get it.
Please.
Once they make it across into the border, they get it's just him and his niece was hit by the blight on her eye, but it didn't
Yeah.
fully catch her. But once they make it in, they're about to throw her back out because she's like on the verge of death, and they don't take people who can't work. So he has to claim that that she's his daughter for them to keep them together, which is just wild. Like the way you automatically see how they view the people from the outside.
I was very much picturing like the wildlings from Game of Thrones.
Okay, yeah.
To
Oh.
go from that to such a stark difference in chapter 2, it was almost like a Harry Potter, like a Bridgerton sort of a vibe I was getting.
Yeah.
It was just very like prim and proper and yeah, very, very different.
And very, like, warm too because they came from such a, like, icy cold place, and then it's like it said something about being spring all the time, like, that type of weather all the time there.
Because there's like a dome that protects this city as like a barrier and keeps all like the heat in, the blight out.
Mhm.
So you're introduced to Tamil and Kara
Kara.
is his niece.
Kara,
Oh,
okay. I
Kara,
don't know.
his
Yeah.
niece. And then chapter 2, we're introduced to Siona, who is a mage, an archmage to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's been studying magic.
Wait, do you guys say archmage? Mage or
See, I was, like, trying to figure it out because I was thinking arch nemesis, it has to be archmage,
Oh,
right?
right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Oh, I say archmage.
I don't know. I also think I'm like slightly illiterate, so I don't know.
Gosh.
Okay, it says most people pronounce it like arch, while some others pronounce it like arc. Because there's like archangel.
Oh, true.
So she's been studying magic for a really long time. She like basically wants to be the first woman to get into this prestigious magical council, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the government.
Yeah, to be a high mage.
Yeah, basically the government.
Yeah, it opens up with her like about to take this test to see if she's gonna be accepted, be the first woman accepted into this group. And yeah, she's hella nervous and she vomits a lot.
I know, oh my
But
gosh.
the reason that it's so high stakes is because they only allow one female or one woman. That sounded so weird saying female. One woman to test every 10 years. And
Mhm.
she's getting that opportunity like of the 10 years. So like it's such like a high stake test that she has to take. So that's why she vomits. I would vomit
hmm
too.
I would also probably. She has her, like, very sweet, cousin there to support her, Alba, trying to hype her up.
Alba and then her aunt
Aunt Winnie.
Winnie. Aunt
Mhm.
Winnie, yeah.
Because she is kind of an orphan, but not really.
Yeah, her dad is like legit a part of the government, and he's this super famous member of that government and like basically disowned her once the mom died. He was like,
Mhm.
peace in the streets. I have no kids
Hmm.
anymore. And take her.
No daughters, because he had, like, sons by other people or by just one other person, I think.
So yeah, She grew up without a mom or a fatherly figure. That's why she kind of looks to one of her mentors as a fatherly figure, Professor Brigham.
Bring 'em here.
Brigham here. What goes on in your head?
I'm sorry, it just the word Brigham just sounds
Bring
very, like,
up,
country, you know, so
please.
She was like, "Okay, Zaddy Brigham, I'm going to represent women and you at this little test." And yeah, lo and behold, she thinks that she doesn't do good.
She gets a little rebellious.
Yeah,
Mhm,
she like goes a little bit overboard with the magic, and it ends up ruining the ceiling and stuff like that, even though it actually really showed like how powerful she can be. But she took that as like, "Oh my god, I messed up the building. I was so bad." And
yeah.
in reality, she gets the position. Yes,
So
girl.
the magic system is a little complicated to explain, but it kind of does follow, like I said in the last podcast, the law of equivalent exchange from Full Metal Alchemist, where you take energy from something and put it into something else, but it has to be like equal. And the
Mhm.
way I imagined it, I think that this is how it is. It's like a typewriter.
I also imagine a typewriter.
They're basically coding, like how you
Yeah.
would code on a computer, but it's like these magic symbols, or I don't know exactly how it works, but it codes, and then the page, once you click enter, it kind of activates whatever code you put in it.
It definitely reminded me of like computer class,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of like you said, the coding and the data from
Mhm,
computers, but in a typewriter form. And there's this like magical coil that like activates when you type in like a certain spell.
mhm.
And yeah, they think that they're receiving this energy from what's called the other realm. It's like this kind of unknown thing. And from my understanding, there's something that like pops up that's essentially like kind of like a map, but it's not a map
Yeah,
in images or color. It's kind of this like grayscale sort of map, and there are certain sections on the map that pops up with
Hmm.
like light, and it that's what shows you where you're taking the energy from. Some light is brighter than others, and some is more uh I guess populated than others, like it's the bigger spots, if you will. And so yeah, they're kind of under the impression that this other realm is basically just this like mapped out area, and they have two reserves where
mhm,
that's like pre-mapped out energy, I think, and they can take from the reserves. That's like
Hmm.
energy that's already been taken essentially, but you can only use that for very specific
Things.
things.
and even though they have this magic, like, all of the principles of the magic, it's run by their religion, too. That was very interesting for me. I feel like I haven't read a lot of books where religion was such a big topic, like, in a fantasy.
I love religion and fantasy. It's honestly my favorite.
No, I liked it, and it was, like, the way that it had the religion actually explained and how what's his name? Something the First? Fane the First, and
Oh yeah,
who
Fane.
that other guy that God spoke specifically to.
Leon.
Yeah, and even though, like, this government was, like, magical and stuff, they're, like, literally a religious little place.
There are like two main religions
Mhm,
that believe similar things, but they believe them from different people. Like different
mhm,
people kind of like started it, jump started the magicalness in this world. It's I liked the religion. I just could have done with a little bit less of it. Like there were certain parts where I felt like I was in class, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
mhm.
Like there were certain parts where I was just like getting taken out of the story, and it felt like I was like, yeah, a student in a classroom like
Yeah.
learning about a religion.
I feel like that those are some of my favorite parts when you're learning about
Mm.
like the world. And I would say I also compared this book to Babel last episode. In Babel, a lot of the chapters are literally you sitting in a classroom and learning with the student. Like it's literally
Oh
just the
wow.
professor explaining. like everything. So it kind of it gave me like that same vibe as well, where you're just learning like with Siona or Tomo, whoever, just learning like everything, the religion and the background of everything. Yeah.
Well, especially in the beginning, I was learning with Tamil. Like, he obviously didn't know him coming from the outside. They call him a Quen. That's what they call the outside, Quen. He didn't know much about the religion, and so she was like, "Ugh, gotta teach you, I guess," and, taught him all
Yeah,
this
yeah.
stuff and everything. So I was like, "Oh, okay. I feel like I'm learning too. Thank you. Thank you, Sayona."
And it was interesting to see too, like definitely gave a little bit of a poke to the real world how Siona, when she was teaching him in a very biased way because she obviously had chosen a side of what religion she believed in. So when she was explaining it to Tamil, she was kind of explaining what she thought was correct and what she
Mhm.
believed in. She still
Mhm.
explained the other side from what I remember, but she did it in a way where it was like, this is what they believe, but this is what happened, sort of a thing.
And I love the conversations and the pushback that they had with each other when they were like debating.
Mm,
I think I told you guys this, but the talk of morality, depending on like the god that they believe in, was so cool to me. That was like my favorite part. Just like,
I'm pretty sure I
yeah,
highlighted, like, most of that part.
you might think this is good because this is what your god says, but I think this is good because my god says this. So like,
Mhm.
which one's actually good and bad, you know?
right.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was pretty well done.
And obviously, Siona being this first woman that has been accepted into being a high mage, just because she gets that white robe doesn't mean that suddenly everyone's like, yes, welcome, girly
No, she's in
girl,
the boys'
welcome.
club.
Yep, she joins the boys club and they are less than thrilled to have her, specifically Renthorn,
Ugh, I
Cleon.
hate
I
him.
hated him so
Yeah,
much.
Cleon
Yeah.
Renthorn. First of all, he is a nepotism baby, so that discredits all
He
of his work
is.
anyways.
He really is. He honestly didn't know shit. Like when you look back at it, he literally he didn't know what he was doing.
He made everyone else do his work for him, all of
Yeah.
his assistants.
He was horrible and definitely treated Siona the worst because he saw her obviously as a threat. It was literally just his masculinity was in question, as it should have been because he did not deserve to be there. And as a joke was like, "Oh yeah, I have like all of the assistants. Like, do you need one? You probably need an assistant. Here, take this janitor." So not even someone that's like of the more elite civilization, arguably. It was obviously a Quen, which is looked at as the more lower class. So he was basically like spitting in her face. Like, here,
Hmm.
you can have an assistant, but he's trash in my eyes. So here you go. And she took that and was basically like, no, fuck you. I'm going to take this trash assistant that you gave me and we're going to do some great work. And they did. A little too great,
A little
maybe.
too
Maybe a
great.
little too great of
I
work, actually.
I love that. I love that.
And oh my gosh, I mean, Carlos kind of, like, gave us updates when he was first reading it about, like, the talks of racism and stuff in this book, but I was also feeling angry every time.
Yes, even at Siona.
Yeah, oh
Mm,
my gosh,
Yeah.
and Siona, but it was so, like, parallel to real life, honestly,
Mhm.
because Siona, she was not outwardly racist. Like, she took this man in, even though in her head, in her, like, own
mhm,
inner monologue, she was like, well, Quen are savages. He looks different than the other Quinn that, my Aunt Winnie talks about and all this
mm.
stuff. And even when she was like describing her religion to her, like Lauren said, in a biased way, she was like, "Well, I mean, you wouldn't know, right?" Like, girl, oh
Yeah.
Mhm.
my gosh, I
Yeah.
know you don't realize this, but that is bad.
And then down the road when she's, like, still disrespecting Quen, pretty much, and he's like,
Yes,
"Girl, I'm still Quen," and she's like, "But you're different." I was like,
But
that was
you're
the worst
"Oh
different.
for
my
her. She kept being like,
god."
"Oh, well, you're not like them, like you're kind of smart."
And he was like, "Girl, I'm just like them, what the fuck?"
Yeah, that was crazy.
I was like, "This is getting too real. I wanna have a silly, goofy time again."
Oh, this was not honestly, some parts were a little silly goofy though, but most of this was not a silly goofy time. I was like,
Mm-mm.
Any single time that they had a moment, I was like, they should kiss.
Wait,
Stop.
but
They did have a couple moments. It was good. It was good.
are we going, like, spoiler now or no? What are we doing?
I feel like we've wait, spoilers? I feel like we've been spoiling.
Has it been
I
spoiled?
mean, not really though, because we haven't said like the main.
True, true, true. Like the main twists and stuff.
But
Yeah.
we gotta walk into that, you know? We gotta
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
into that.
I have a line I highlighted and I wrote, "Oop, here comes the racism."
Uh,
It's
please.
just and it's like just 2 lines. It's Siona had never cultivated relationships with any of these people. On a good day, she barely remembered their names. I
Not
was like,
these
"What the
people.
fuck?" Yeah, these people, or they called them it. I was like, "What the
Yes.
fuck?"
Also, I don't know why I thought this at the beginning because obviously it's not true, but if I remember correctly, when Tamil at the beginning is like crossing with like what's left of his people, wasn't the main guy, his name was like Baronin or something, right?
It's like Bey. Yeah, something like that.
I thought that that was, I know I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, the
Oh,
traitor mage Sabernin.
Oh,
I thought that was him, but he just like took off the first part of his name to like be incognito or something. But I guess he ended up like he was dead or something. So like
yeah.
it couldn't have been
yeah,
him.
no.
But I was like, I thought that that was gonna be a twist. So I kept
Mm.
highlighting like anything that said his name because I was like, I fucking know, and I was wrong. So
Well, the big twist or reveal, like, I wish it was more surprising, but I don't hate that it was a little predictable, you know? I was okay that it was predictable because I felt like it was revealed in a great way,
wait, what did you
but
predict?
I predicted what happened.
Oh, what the twist is?
Yeah, what like, at the 40% mark,
Oh,
that little, like, twist, I was like it was obvious, but I think the author wanted it to be obvious to us, but I was like, I just wish I don't know, there was something, like I don't know, I
Something
wanted to be
more.
surprised, but I wasn't surprised. Well, the ending maybe.
I was surprised by that.
We can't get there yet. I'll cry.
I know.
Oh, we can talk about what her, project is as a high mage.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, the main task so like Lauren said earlier, they're, like, in this dome, so there's these borders and barriers. So all the high mages, their task is to figure out a way, like some type of sourcing and mapping spell to extend the barriers. And this is like the first time they're extending them. Other people have tried to like propose ways to extend it, but it's just nothing has ever worked out. And so Siona is trying her best to beat Renthorn to it because he is good at what sourcing, but she's better at mapping.
He's good at spell webs and she's better at like the bigger picture.
Like finding the source, right?
Mhm.
Ideally you would want those two things put together, but he's such a jackass that she was like absolutely not. I'm just going to try and create the best spell webs that I can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically beat him. I mean, yeah, one thing about Siona, she's not really a people person either.
That's why I think their sex would have been crazy, but
I
Stop.
was honestly
Wait,
because
with
throughout
Renthorn?
no, with
Oh.
Tamil.
Carlos, don't
I
do
thought you
it.
wanted like a enemies to lovers to happen.
No.
Okay. Okay, good,
No.
good.
Absolutely not.
I really like was hoping, cuz the book didn't need it, but I was like for a little extra, a little extra.
A little spice added to the recipe, you know?
Like a closed door, like, we don't this book was
Yeah.
not a graphic book, we didn't need anything, like, graphic,
I
but
mean,
just,
it
like
was graphic a little bit with, like, the gore part. Like, a
see, I feel
little
like it
bit.
was, like, poetic in the way that she described the
Oh.
gore, though. No? I
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
highlighted
yeah.
the in
A
chapter
little.
1 wait, can I read that? That was, like,
Yeah.
my favorite I don't is that crazy?
Yeah,
Wait,
because 'cause you're
I
crazy. Extreme horror gal.
skin unraveled from flesh and flesh from bone like unspooling thread. Does that not put, like, the best picture in your mind?
Yes.
I
I
don't know
loved
about
it.
the best picture, but I mean, yeah, it was cool, but I'm not like, like having fond memories of that.
I just it was just so good. Her little face was pale with cold and oozing blood where blight had burned a crescent across her left eye. This is so good, no?
Yeah,
Get
I
help.
agree. No, I agree. I
Thanks,
agree. I
Carlos.
love I love the descriptions.
See, it's not, like, gory, like, my stomach's not turning at these descriptions, it's like, you know?
Mm.
It's letting your mind do all the work.
Sure.
Okay, moving on.
And obviously, so since Siona and Tamil have paired up to basically try and be better than Runthorn and his little posse of assistants, Tamil learns at a very accelerated pace. Like he's really getting the hang of things, and Siona's like,
Mm.
"Ooh, okay, that's great, great. Let's keep doing this." I think it only takes a couple of months, right? Or like 3 months for them to make bit of a bit of a breakthrough with
Yeah.
the sourcing and basically what their magic really is at its bare bones, because like Carlos said, it is energy taking from another energy. Like it doesn't just pop up out of nowhere, it's got to take from something, and boy does it take.
Boy, does it take.
Before Carlos explains the little twist, the reveal, throughout the journey of Tamil and Siona, like working together, he's kind of also revealed things about his life in the Quen, his culture, who his people are, who his tribe is, his religion, the way that, he thinks and everything.
And Siona's smart as fuck. So she like picks up on this and she's like, I've got a book for that. I've got a book for that. And she like fucking cracks the code.
And it's contradicting some things she thought before, and he's like, "Well, some things might not be as they seem."
Yes. So we basically learned that this magic that they're using was actually stolen from women that were Quen, that were called witches, that used to practice this magic a long time ago, but they would only use it for like healing or for like making food, just simple stuff to help them survive, never anything too big. And when they're what they call their god now discovered this magic, he kind of stole the knowledge from them, and he was told that God told him to make this city to protect his people from, I don't even know from what. It was it just to make the city,
I think just to make the city, yeah.
right, as like a paradise. And we learn that this other world that the magic is being siphoned from is the outside where the Quen live. Which I don't know. Does the land have a name? I don't remember.
I don't think
No.
so. Just
No. Okay.
like the mountain had a name and
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that, but nothing else.
Yeah, so it's just anything outside the barrier. Oh, so we forgot to explain, whenever they are doing like the mapping and the spells, there is a blacked out area that they tell them not to get any energy from.
The
And this is where
forbidden
you learn
coordinates.
the forbidden coordinates. This is where you learn that the forbidden coordinates is actually the city of Turan. So that's why you can't take anything from there, because then it would take the energy, aka people's lives,
Mhm.
and use it. Which there was a mage a long time ago that did do this, that started killing people in his, like, he figured out what was happening, and kind of like Siona didn't like it, so he started killing his colleagues using the forbidden coordinates. But sometimes he would miss and like kill innocent people. Well, innocent, quote unquote innocent.
But he was just blinded with rage.
Yeah.
When this was I felt so bad for Tomio when this was, like, revealed, because I just knew it was coming,
Yeah.
and when Siona was like, it's so clear," and he's looking through and he's like, that's the land outside," and she's like, "What do you mean that's the land outside? No, it's not."
Right.
And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, it is," and then she does some type of spell, and then he sees that that's the blight.
It's literally the blight. And it takes a tree at first.
And then like a bunny, right?
Yeah, like a tree and a bunny. And then he leaves and she's still in denial. She's like, no, there's no way. So she's like, let me get a clearer picture of this.
Oh my gosh, I
That
did not
was
like this part.
crazy.
So she goes a little bit further out of like their city, and or just like, so she creates this like screen where she can clearly see where she's taking the source from.
The frame and mirror.
The frame and
Mhm.
mirror, she calls it. It's the clearest thing that has ever existed, apart from like when the witches used it. But she's able to clearly see where she's taking the source from, and she picks a coordinates where there's like a girl walking on the beach, just like picking stuff up off the beach. She siphons from this location, and like the girl gets blasted with the blight, and like her skin starts unraveling.
But she like stops it.
Yeah, she
Mhm.
stops it, so it only takes like half of her, but like it's already too late. Like she's already like on the ground dying.
Yeah, her arm is, like, completely off. There's just bone. Then her people come running up to her, and Siona is
Screaming,
like,
crying.
yeah, and she's like, "I can't believe this is real."
And this is when Siona has the mental breakdown and she goes into like a manic state.
Yeah.
Our girl.
Yeah, girly girl goes into a depression,
Yeah.
goes home, clocks out, almost clocks out of life, actually.
Then they call the doctor.
Oh
The doctor
God.
was trying to give her a lobotomy, basically.
Oh god, the doctor was crazy. Wait, before we continue, I do want to mention how again when they figure out where the source comes from, it comes this question of morality where they're doing good for the city, but the result of that is bad for the outside. So like are they actually doing good? Whereas like Tomo's religion would only believe it's good if it also has a good outcome to everybody, not just one person or
Yeah,
like
the intention could be good. Like your intention is, "Oh, I wanna, do good for my people," but your actual impact is extremely negative.
which Siona believes is good because they're like doing good for their people, but Tomo believes the opposite.
I don't even know if like doing good is necessarily like even the correct wording. Cause when you think about it, it's literally just like things that don't matter. Cause they use magic for like elevators and,
Mhm.
to make a fucking coffee pot get hot. Like
Hmm.
basically what we view
To
as
run
like
underwater.
electrics and stuff like that, like they use magic for that. So it's in reality not necessary. It's a luxury. And
Yes.
that's why this place is a paradise, is because, you get these luxuries that outside of the barrier doesn't see, but people don't know the real source of how they're getting that energy. So like it's that question of, is taking people's literal lives on the outside worth me not walking up these stairs and taking the elevator instead? And I did love how when Siona figured that out, she like stopped using all those things. Like
Hmm.
she was gonna take the elevator and then she was like, "Oh shit.
That's someone's life.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
literally someone's
Yeah,
life that I'm taking." So
crazy.
she would take the stairs and
It was honestly still annoying how she was like so in denial. I have this quote here where she's like, "I've humored you in your outlandish claims about religion, all right, but the hard fact remains that your people rejected the true God and by extension truth itself." So she was still blaming the Quen for not like accepting the true God, which was whoever the fuck. Which is yeah, that pissed me off too. I was like hating her at that moment. My relationship with her was so weird. I would like love her at some moments and then hate her at
mhm.
some moments,
Yeah,
which I
relatable.
really liked. But
During that whole part of her like woe is me thing where she was just like super depressed, I was starting to just get like, all right, girl.
I think she was, like, fighting with her personality a little bit, though, because she had grown up, like, not really caring about anybody else except for herself. She's been very, like, self-centered, just, even she would not do any, like, housework or anything like that. I mean, her cousin and her aunt, like, they supported her, they helped her through all of that, but she didn't truly care. I mean, she didn't even care to remember anybody's names. She didn't remember the baker's name.
like she wouldn't even say thank you, nothing.
No, nothing. And then Tomil, this Quinn man who first of all, she hates men, which girl relatable. This Quinn man is, like, making her realize, like, I actually, I kind of care about him. I'm remembering facts about him, but now everything I'm learning is a lie, but I can't just move on because I know this Quinn man and it's affecting him. So, I feel like she was, like, fighting with herself there, and that's why she was very, like, "Woe is me," dealing with the fact that her whole life is basically a lie. I mean, also, the fact that she's probably killed so many people.
Oh, so many.
So
Hmm.
many.
And she was like on the windowsill ready to jump off and end it all, and then Alba basically like grabs her and like drags her away and is like, "No, you can't." And then like literally takes her 2 seconds to snap back into it, and she Alba tells her like, "Oh, the doctor's coming and he wants to like have you drink this like fucking shit that's gonna turn you into a mindless zombie." And
Mhm.
Siona's like, "Mustn't let that happen. No, no." And then she's like, suddenly on the fucking road to revenge. I'm like, "Okay, girl."
That conversation with the doctor was so wild too, because he was so
Mm,
sexist.
yeah,
The
he was gross.
misogyny in this book was crazy. The misogyny was crazy. I mean, it was on purpose, obviously,
Right.
but I was just like, "This is disgusting." I mean, men are literally like this, but why are they so outwardly like this? I just can't.
Be more American and bury that shit. Come on.
I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." The way that the doctor was talking to her and was like, Miss whatever. What's her last name? Fairnin?
Freynin.
Braynon? Yeah. He was like, Miss." And then she was like, "It's high mage." And he was like, "Oh, high mage."
And he's like, "This is why females don't or shouldn't have ambitions because it drives them crazy." I was like, "What?"
I think I highlighted that
I
part.
did
I was like,
highlight that.
And that's what I loved about Tamil though, because right from the beginning he was calling her high mage, and I was like, "Girl, put your feminism aside. Fuck that man.
yes,
Get him,
when they go to the bar and the bartender is like, "Oh, Maedra," and
Maedra."
then he's like
Mhm.
or she's like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Oh, it's something good." And then eventually he tells her like, "No, all of our, mages were women. That's the highest, compliment we can give to you, the highest respect that we can give to you." That's a man. That's a man.
Get
I
that man, girl. Get
Now
him.
throughout Tamil, I loved him. I literally
Same.
am
Yeah.
obsessed with him.
It probably is because I've been rewatching Demon Slayer, but I picture him as Tanjiro
Oh
with his
my
little
Oh
god!
shaggy
my
hair.
god! You picture everyone as Tanjiro.
I was picturing him
You
as
know?
Tanjiro, and I loved it. I loved it.
A little manlier, a little
Yeah,
manlier.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whenever she would talk about him, she's like, he's like hard as a rock. He's got, these muscles. Wow, he smells good. And the whole
Mm.
time she was like, I wasn't expecting him to smell good because my aunt Winnie says that all the Quinn are stinky. And I'm like, girl, you guys stop listening to your Aunt Winnie, please.
I'm fucking dead.
So after she snaps out of it, she makes the doctor go away.
Her villain arc
I
begins.
love it. She finds Tomil's house or his apartment where like all the Quinn live because they're forced to live in like the worst part of what's this place called? Tehran.
Tyran.
And she goes and makes him listen because he's like, I don't want to talk to you. That's the blight. And then she's like, I know now, I know.
She saw the light,
Literally.
literally.
I want to highlight this quote that I really liked where I was like, okay. I don't know.
Oh
I like
god.
Siona in this.
Okay.
So it says, Talmud said that a woman was weighed at the gates of heaven by her actions and their impact. Well, Siona was going to leave an impact. Whatever happened next, whether it led to hell or heaven, she was going to have a hand in directing it. Sick or sound, good or evil, she was still Siona Freinen, and Siona Freinen didn't slow down. Siona Freinen would be remembered.
Queen.
I was like, okay. I love that. I literally my highlight says Queen.
That's what I loved about her is, like, she really wasn't, like, a good guy or a bad guy. She was literally, like I mean, she was a little bit of both, but her
Right.
ego never changed throughout the whole thing.
Mm,
Like, she was self-aware about that. She was like, "I know that I did not figure this shit out for me to just like be written off as this maniac woman that just like lost her mind. I am gonna fuck shit up and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make people remember that I fucking did this." And I was like,
Yes.
I'm scared, girl. You're
I'm
scaring
scared.
me.
I was so excited because
I loved it.
I felt her anger because she went to her literal mentor right after all this happened,
Hmm.
Arch Brigham. Ugh.
Bring
And
him to me.
he was like, "Oh, no, 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 like, that's probably the curse, like, just take a couple days, sir." And then she goes back to him, and then I highlighted that part. He was like, "Oh, I didn't think you would find out so early, but it's in poor taste to talk about where the magic comes from, you know?"
Crazy.
And I was like
And I liked him. I liked him at
Me
first because he was
too.
like super supportive of her.
I just had a gut feeling. I just knew somebody was going to betray her. I just knew that there was gonna be some type of betrayal.
Sometimes being a man-hater pays off.
It really does, 'cause I don't trust any man in any book except for Tomville. Like, sometimes you gotta trust a man, and that's a man, you know? I love him.
When Tamil was talking to Siona, one of my quotes that I highlighted was, "You worship a delusion," and my note is, "A happy life with Bang Chan."
Wait, that was my note.
When?
That was literally my note. Which is like, you worship a delusion. I literally wrote me with Bang Chan.
You guys are insane. This is delusion. Alright, guys? This is literally you living
Oh
in
my
delusion.
god.
I cannot believe you two.
Oh my god, I have another quote that reminded me of a certain political party, and it
Oh.
is, "Women, being governed by emotions, have no place in positions of political or magical power. It is fine and good to have them trained in magic as educators, as it fits their nurturing nature. It is my personal belief that such pursuits should be encouraged, but to have a woman take the masculine role of innovator is not right or natural." I was like,
That's
Literally,
wild.
please.
anytime they were talking about women, I was like, you know,
And if you're offended by that, maybe look a little bit in. Look a little bit in on that.
maybe you shouldn't be watching this right now.
True.
Saying we're not for you. Just
Yeah.
letting you know now. But I was like, I can't believe, and then even going back to the doctor, he was like, "Well, you know, your God-given role as a woman is to be a mother or do," and I was like, "Sir, you're a literal doctor. I'm disgusted."
I'm disgusted.
The misogyny, the racism, the religious delusion, it was all like the corrupt politics, it was just all crazy. I was like, "This is so much for me to take in at one time."
Yeah, it was a lot.
But you bet your bottom dollar that once Siona kind of got a hold of her emotions a little bit more and was like, "I am not going to stay silent about this. I'm not going to let them just drug me and put me in this like little Delulu land. Like, I'm going to show everybody what the fuck's going on." So she goes to Tamil and even Kara, actually. And Kara's like, "Yeah, fuck him," which I
I
loved
loved
that.
her. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she was great. She reminded me of Octavia.
Oh,
Very
okay.
Octavia, like, her
Okay.
first scene of her, like, taking the knife, trying to stab Siona.
I see
Yeah,
it.
Carl was like, "Yes, fuck him," and Tamil was like, I actually don't know about this."
Wait, hold on, something happens
Yes.
before this.
Yes. No, it happens after. Wait,
Rinthorn,
does it happen before?
this happened before because that's why she had to be in disguise, and Tamil couldn't come back.
I think it's when she goes to get the typewriter back.
Because he, like, hid it?
Yeah.
But she was in, like, the library, whenever Rinthorn attacked
Oh,
her.
that's true.
I think she was looking into
Oh, the guy that has the half Quen mom or he's half Quen or something, one of the founders?
Mordra the 10th.
No, no. No, one of the founders, not like anybody that still works there. He's
Uh,
old and dead.
He's old and dead.
It's one of the guys that she blew up, one of the statue guys that she blew up
oh,
on her exam.
Stravos.
Yes, thank you. Him. I know it started with an S. So, she's going to, like, get more information
Yeah, yeah,
about,
yeah.
like, his stuff so that she can code more or whatever.
Well, this is before she learns about the mirror, right?
Wait, was she attacked before the mirror?
I think so. This is where she
Oh,
goes to look for the information on the mirror.
And Renthorn comes in and he's like all drunk and tired and he's like, "What you doing, girl?" Tries to essay her, sexual assault her, trigger warning.
he basically does though. He's, like, kissing her against her will, like, it's so disgusting, but this
But then Tamil comes in.
I literally died. He comes in, punches him in the face, knocks him out, and then then she has to, like, fire him or something in front of everybody.
But she like gives him a look like, "I'm doing this for your own good," and Tamil's like, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah."
Yeah, he's, like, catching on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because otherwise, two of like the higher ups come in and they've got conduits, which is basically like
Like a magic wand.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we would have seen more of those, but
Mhm.
that's beside the point.
And so Siona sees that and she's like, "Oh shit, they're gonna like kill Tomil
Mhm.
because there are so many ways that they can spin this against me. So like I'm just gonna take the heat for him basically, kind of make it his fault, but not in like the way that everyone thinks."
Hmm.
So she fires him, the guards usher him out, and yeah, she like refers to the gross taste of like Renthorn's mouth, and I was like, "Oh girl, I'm so
Yeah.
Ew.
sorry."
And that's when she vomits for the second time
Yeah.
Mm.
because and but then she's like, "I don't even wash out my mouth because the taste is basically better than his kiss." And I was like, fair, fair."
So sad.
Yeah, but that's why she was like she wore, Tomil's, like, janitor clothing whenever her and Kara were going. She was basically, like, disguising herself as janitor, and they're so, like, racist that they don't even care about all the lowly people of Quen, so they don't even, look at them. And she's going to steal something from Gamwen's office or Orenthal's office.
Is that when this Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. While Kara goes into the reserves and puts new spells on each one to switch it up and do something that gets revealed at the end.
'Cause it has to be activated.
That's why she still left the spellograph to Tamil.
I think Tamil kind of was like, "You're gonna die," and she's like,
Hmm.
"No, they're not gonna kill me," right? Like, I feel like she was still kind of living in her delusion
Mm.
until the end because this was when she was
Right.
prepared to reveal everything to all of Tehran. Like, "Hey, guys, they're literally killing people," and then Tamil's like, "Well, I know you think these people are good, but are you sure this is a good idea?" And she's like, "Why wouldn't it be a good idea? Why wouldn't all these good people like want this to be exposed?" And he's like, "Oh, you gotta think through this, you
Yeah.
know?" And she's like, I think I can do it." But she still did want his opinion.
Mm.
Wait, was this when they kissed? Or no? Is that after? When did they kiss? It was like the very last, like the little flashback at the end. That's whenever they kissed.
I actually don't remember.
Yeah, it's after she's already, like, in the little trial, and then she's like, "Ah, that's my last word," and then it flashes
Oh,
back, and
you're
then
right.
it
Hmm.
shows their kiss, and I died.
Yeah, that's true.
How does the reveal happen? Because I know she, like literally, she coded something to where, every single time the reserve was used, like, her
Her
coils,
mirror.
basically, her mirror, yeah, her mirror would show up and everybody would see l living things getting killed.
Yeah, like where that it's coming from.
Someone turns something on to boil the water for like tea or something. All of a sudden, mirror pops up. They see where that energy is being taken and it fucking kills like a little girl. And this happens all over the city,
Yes, and
literally
With
everywhere.
literally everything.
just
Yeah.
Yeah.
screams, like, terror, like, it's awful.
Chaos.
This happens during her first trial, where or not the first trial, sorry, when so there's like a day they're supposed to present their
Oh,
findings, basically.
the presentation,
Yeah.
I was like, "She's in front of them."
Yeah, yeah. She needs to present their findings, and this is like the finding that she comes up with, which is the Freynen mirror that's like the clearest that it's ever been. I think that's when it activates, the spell activates when like a certain time or whatever,
At
and
noon.
everything just starts being revealed and she gets arrested.
She does it
Mhm.
super sassy too. Like when she brings up the mirror in front of the council, she's like, "Here you go. Now we can see clear as day what we're doing."
Mhm.
And all the council members are like, "Fuck, fuck, 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 fuck."
They're like,
And everybody else that doesn't know, that's like either too new or not as skilled to have figured it out yet, is like, "What the hell?" Like they're freaking out collectively. And the council's like, "Ha, you should stop. You should stop now." And she's like, "Oh, what? You don't like this? Let me show everybody." And they're like, "You fool!"
Yeah.
And Brigham is pissed. He's like, "What are you doing?" Because his ego is now also in the picture. He's like, "I'm the one that stuck my neck out to get you here, and you're basically showing them that like you're not emotionally stable enough to handle the truth.
Mhm.
Like they picture it as like it's a truth that we bear for the greater good. Like everybody can live these little peaceful lives, and we're the ones burdened with this information that the energy is actually murdering people. And it's like, ugh, they try and make that so like high and mighty and masculine, and I ugh,
Mm.
hate it. Hate it,
Yeah,
hate it,
and
hate it.
then him, like, kind of starting to turn against her, like, "Ugh, maybe they were right, maybe I shouldn't have brought a woman in, you just weren't ready, blah, 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 all this stuff, like, I thought you could handle it." And then they take her away, they arrest her, while all this chaos is happening, and then when she's in jail, her cousin, Alba, sweet little Alba
Oh
comes.
yeah.
I was actually kinda sad at this part. Alba comes, like, screaming at Siona, like, "Why would you do this? I cannot believe," and she's like, don't you see the truth? Like, look, I showed everybody." And she's like, "Do you not hear what's going on? That's the Quinn, they're rioting. They're seeing, like, their people being murdered. They're out here looting, rioting, all of this stuff, like, uprising, basically, them seeing the truth." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't think about what the Quinn, would do." And then Alba's like, "Yeah, Aunt Winnie doesn't wanna talk to you, and I don't either. Bye."
They're like, "You're so fucking selfish. We literally
Selfish.
grew up doing all your chores, everything for you because you had to study and we wanted to support that. We never got a fucking thank you. And
Mhm.
here you are, messing up everyone's lives, and you're only doing it because you want recognition for like your work still."
Because Alba's like also kind of right, you know, but Siona's also right. So it's like again morality.
Nobody is truly right, you know?
Yep, super crazy. Tamil and Kara are like hiding out basically at this like
Mhm.
higher up woman, like higher up in society, her like mansion basically because Kara was doing like housemaid stuff while she's
Mhm.
away. So Siona's not really worried about them. She knows that they're kind of like safe. And then lo and behold, Brigham comes out and I guess kind of saves her from jail, even
Yeah, he, like,
though,
bails her out until her trial the next day.
yeah, because he's like, I wanted you to be comfortable. Like, I didn't want you to be treated like poorly in jail. And she was like, I kind of almost wish you had left me there.
Yeah, and then he's murdering Quinn on the way.
With his
Yes,
yeah,
with his conduit is a staff, like a type of, I'm pretty sure it's a staff, right?
I think so, yeah.
And then they go to this meetup spot, and who picks them up? Freaking Duris, the worst one.
Mm.
Yeah, literally the worst, the most like misogynistic piece of shit.
Yeah, in his, like,
His car.
yes, I pictured, like, kind of like a DeLorean. But then the way that they described it was, like, weird, I don't know, like a carriage without the horses, but it was
Mhm.
really low to the ground.
I don't know,
Yeah.
just souped up.
I hated him.
And yeah, she like just tries to talk to Brigham prior to her trial. And he's like, I literally don't know how to help you. Like, maybe just say that, like, you were unfit for this and, like, kind of fall on the sword, essentially. Like, he's like, I just want you to live. Like, you're not going to be a high mage anymore. Like, there's no question about that. But I at least want you to live. So just, say that you couldn't handle the truth, blah, blah, blah. Surely they'll bury this in history. And at least you'll be able to, like, be a wife to someone. And she's like, that sounds fucking horrible. I'm not going to
Mhm.
do that actually. It's like the shortest trial in history because even the other traitor mage that had done something similar to what she
Mhm.
did,
Yeah.
his trial lasted like multiple days and it was like very controversial. Whereas with hers, it was like, felt like 10 minutes.
You're like, "Well, you got anything to say?" And she's like, "Well, I'm not sorry." And they said, "Okay, well, go wait over there while we decide."
Yeah, and then something very Hunger Games happened in the middle of the little space where you normally, like, present to the council. This little thing pops up with, like, just a glass of a potion that like she has to drink and it's like gonna kill her. Basically, it's just like
Yeah.
poison, but it just like pops up, and there are two guards that are standing there that are gonna like forcefully put it down her throat if she doesn't like willingly go drink it. But I was like, ooh, that's very, very Hunger Games of them. It reminded me of when they put that guy in the room with like the bowl of poisonous berries and they just like
Oh,
wait for him to take it.
Mm.
But yeah, she was like, she took it and she like felt her like body like starting to become numb or whatever. And she was like, what were her last words? Didn't she say something like sassy?
well, so they sentence her to death, and then she takes the potion, and they're like, "Do you have anything to say? You know, like your last words?"
I don't remember what
No,
happens.
there's like
No.
a boom.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I remember that,
Yeah,
but what does she say?
and she's like, "Those are my last words."
Oh, okay,
And then it
okay.
goes to the flashback of Tamil and her talking.
So basically, she figured out how to expand the barrier and the source that she was going to grab from. And she used the building they were in the forbidden coordinates as the source, and all the bodies that were in, like the council, basically, are what fed the barrier expansion.
And not even just that, but like the politicians and the reporters,
Yes,
like so many people
so
came
many
to this
people.
trial.
Literally everyone in that building.
Oh yeah, this is where she reveals to the council that her dad is like up there.
Mhm.
But yeah, then Tom is back home with the what's it called?
The spellograph.
The
Telegraph.
spellograph. Yeah. So he like clicks enter and it like blows up. And it was like her final, yeah, her final wish, her final art.
'Cause she knew she was gonna die anyway, and so she was like, "If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna be going out swinging." So, my thinking was okay, so this is my theory, obviously, before I knew what was gonna happen, because Siona, when she was teaching Tamil about the magic, she made it a point to show him how to make a spell web where you could manipulate something to either only go after this one thing or not go after something. You know, when she was teaching him how to, like, I think it was like moving a brick or something like that, like
Mm-hmm.
you name it in a certain way and whatever.
Mm.
I thought that Tamil was going to use that information, and when he was I thought he was going to tweak the spell and say like, you know, everybody in the room except
Except
for, and then like
mm.
put in detail like her height, weight, like what she looks like, and name it like my love or something. I don't know. I thought that
You
he
just
was gonna
wanted them to have a love story. Really, that is
Not the
your
love
agenda?
story.
I
Oh my
or like
god.
Madra as the keyword or
Right,
something. You know
right.
what I mean? Like I thought that he was gonna target everybody in that room, but then put in the spell web to have it not kill her. So that's why when she drank the potion, I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, is she actually gonna die?
Please.
That was my reaction too. When she drank it, I was like, I literally walked out of the room because then it's she was like, "That's my last word." I walked out of the room. I went to Malik and I said, "Well, I'm pretty sure the main character in my book just died." I can't believe there's still like 40 pages. What's gonna happen?
As she's like getting dulled by the poison, the blight hits her and she like describes her skin and
Yeah.
her
Mhm.
muscles and everything starting to unravel, and I was like, what the fuck?
R.I.P.
You guys need to read more books where the main characters die. I love books
Do
where the main characters
I?
die.
I don't know if I love that.
Yes, it's so good. It's so
I
good.
feel like since Tamil lived, I'm okay. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
okay that Siona died. I feel like she kind of needed to be a martyr because that's what she was, basically, like,
yeah.
Yeah.
she needed to make a statement, and she was basically like, "Well, let's try they can try to hide this in history."
Oh, I actually have a quote from that. It says, "This would be Siona Freynan's mark on the world, a great red flower in the center of Tehran. And God help the arbiters of history tasked with spinning lies around this moment. Let them scrub with all their might to clear the horror from public memory. Some inquisitive souls was always going to look back on this day and ask why. What really happened that day when the heart of civilization bloomed red?" Yeah.
Yep.
Snaps.
The writing is so good too. Can we talk about the prose in this book? There was so many like moments that I was like, "Holy shit, that's written so well."
But there were two people that were missing from the council room when everything went down.
Renthorn and, Mordra. Ugh.
Mm,
Renthorn was awful. He was a sadist, like, sadist, psychopath, awful. He literally liked the fact that they were killing people
Oh,
for their
yeah.
magic.
But because he looked at it as an opportunity. He was like, "Okay, I'm gonna take Mordra with me," because he kinda figured out what Siona was doing based off of the books that she was taking out in the library, so he kinda put everything together, and he was like, "Well, I'm not fucking going to that trial. I have an inkling of what's gonna happen." So he takes Mordred the 10th, who's, like, just a boy, basically. He's, like,
just a
so
boy.
impressionable, and, sees that he would be a good, like, disciple, like a good follower. So he's like, "I'm gonna take you, we're gonna rebuild this magistry, and I am the leader now."
Yeah, he said, "I'm superior mage." And
Oh my god. He's, like, talking to Tamil because he traces the spell back to where Tamil and Kara are. So he, like, approaches Tamil and he's like, "I know what you did, blah, blah, blah." Fucking Kara.
I highlighted
She
this part.
Yes, me too. Kara took the spellograph because Tamil was like A, wanting to keep her safe, and B, wanting to get the spellograph away from Renthorn. So he thought that Kara was like long gone. So he was
Mhm.
ready to take the brunt of like everything that Renthorn was gonna distribute to him just based off of as long as Kara's safe, like it's fine. Lo and behold, Kara's up in the fucking rafters. She's got the spellograph and she just literally throws it down, hits Renthorn in the head, and just like shatters his skull
Yeah, he's,
Yeah.
like, crushed.
on the ground,
That's
dying.
crazy.
She was like, "Hey, Archmage Supreme," and then it's her on the water tower, and she just drops the spellograph, and they're heavy, like, Siona Siona literally couldn't move most of them, like, she could not even carry most of them.
But Tamil could because he's so strong.
And apparently so could Kara,
Yeah,
so yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a fighter, and she just drops it and just, like, crushes his head, and I was like, "That was beautiful, I loved it," and then Mordra's like, "Ah, please don't kill me."
And Tamil's like, "You see that? Take that as a lesson. Go back to your little magistry, and you better fucking rebuild everything better than it was before, and with honesty, and like better for a better world. Because obviously, you see what happens to villains, and they basically just scared the shit out of him. But also, we're not going to stick around to see you do that. We're gonna hella get the fuck out of here."
Can I read a description?
Yes.
I highlighted the entire scene, but I'm just gonna read a little part of it. Gurgling on the ground, Renthorn twitched as if to rise. Kara stomped on what remained of his head with a terrible crunch, and the mage's reedy body went still.
Ugh.
Oh, I love that.
That was so good.
It was good.
And then, oh wait, where are they going though? Where Tamil and
Where
Kara
were they
going?
going? I was so confused, honestly.
They're going to the caves.
Beyond the
Yeah,
barrier.
All right, so they just leave and they're just gonna live on the outside now, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna like fuck it. We bet we rather survive the like fight the blight than be in here all oppressed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I
Yeah.
mean, at this point, if Mordra does what's right, there will not be any more blight. So in my head, what I interpreted is that they're going to the cave that's like under the mountain. What was that mountain called? It started with like a K. I don't remember.
I can't remember.
I was thinking like wait it out, but obviously they have to get through all the icy cold part.
Which I thought it was hilarious that they stole all the coats
I
from
love that.
the rich
Mm,
woman that Kara was, like, housekeeping for. They, like, took all of her coats, and Kara was like, "Surely we don't need all these." And Tamil's like, "Girl, it's been a while since you've been on that other side. I remember, but you were very young." And she was like,
yeah.
"Okay."
And then all the other Quinn come and help them. Aw, but it's a little sad because this lady had a baby and then Kara had to carry the baby and this woman got murdered.
No, she didn't. She was just maimed.
Oh, she was maimed and they carried her.
Yeah, she was shot in the leg,
Um,
and so she went on someone else's back, and they were carrying her, and Kara it was very poetic because Kara essentially turned into Tamil from the beginning, and so she
Yeah.
was holding this baby, and Kara was still dressed in very like light clothing, and when they finally reached the barrier, she was like, "Oh yeah, it is a little chilly over here," and someone had to like put a coat over her and like zipped her
Mhm.
up to save the baby from being too cold.
I did like how it started that way, but it wasn't really hopeful, and then it ended with, like, the exact same scene basically, but it was more like, you don't feel as heavy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it was like, again, very the 100 to me because you have so many people from different tribes that like they've all dwindled so much that they have to come together, and they called each other like one people, one tribe. And I was like, one crew?
One
What?
One
crew.
crew?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I love the last line too of the book. It says, "To hope, Siona lifted her glass, and Tomo raised a fist in return. To hope, Jaime Freinen."
I'll cry
oh,
right now. I'll literally cry right
ripperoni.
now. R.I.P.
But how sad is it that she died a virgin, you guys? Come on. All she got was a little kiss from Tamil.
Hey, but at least she got a real kiss because her first kiss was, like, stolen from her. At least, she had a real kiss, and it was with a real man.
The man.
I'd read a sequel based off of Tamil, whether it's before this or probably after this, or even, like, from his I know this was all in 3rd person, but, like, him working and all of this,
Mm.
if you're
Ugh.
watching this, Emma Wang, like, make another book. I know it's a standalone,
Make
but
another book.
Cause what if like for X amount of time, like there's no blight, but then like 30 years down the road, they like see it starting up again and they plan to like go back into the place that they had abandoned and they're like, now we're gonna fuck shit up again.
And now that Tomil knows how to use the spellographs, he could like,
Good
yeah,
little flashbacks to Siona to be
teaching
like,
him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We need a second book.
please,
So
please.
then wait, what was your guys' like final ratings? Carlos, what was yours?
So this is actually like a book that's gonna change the way I rate things from now on. I used to not use like 0.25s. Like I would go 4.5, 5. But this is the first book, and I'm gonna start doing it from now on, that I'm rating 4.75.
Oh.
Okay.
I it just doesn't give me the 5 star. Like I can't give it the full 5 stars. Just like there's something in me that is like, okay, it wasn't like the best book you've ever read. But I feel like 4.5 is also too low because I loved it
Mhm.
so much.
Mm,
So I think the 4.75 is like very accurate to where I want it to sit.
okay.
So I actually did not rate this beforehand. But I think I knew what I wanted to rate this, but I just didn't, put it out into the world. Honestly, this is a 5 star for me. I
Okay.
loved this book.
I love that.
Yeah, I honestly, this is probably like in top 5 for me
Oh, of all time?
of all time.
Fantasy
Okay.
girly.
I
You are welcome.
loved it. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Like, I loved this book. I mean, I kind of already had a sense. I still have not finished Sword of Kaigen, guys, don't ask me about it, but I like it.
Yeah.
But I kind of had a sense of her writing and her storytelling. So I think maybe because I was familiar with the way she wrote stories, like, I loved it. I loved the talk of, like, sexism, of religion, of racism,
Oh,
of,
you
like
get it. You get it. I'm so happy.
I loved it so much. So this is, like, one of my favorite books of all time. Yeah.
That's crazy. I love that.
Cute.
Lauren?
My rating is a 4. Solid 4. I am trying to get away from like the point 0.5, 0.25, like
Oh, interesting. We're like opposite.
Ooh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We really are. I'm trying to get away from that. It didn't have that 5-star feel. I loved this book. I would recommend it. I would probably reread it, honestly, like down the
Mhm.
road.
Mhm.
But there was just a little too much religion in it for me. I don't
Mm.
know. Not
Mm.
to say that I don't love religion in a book because I thought that this was very well done. I just think it was overpowering a little bit too much. So that's
Mm.
the only reason why it's not a 5 for me. But otherwise, I loved it.
That makes me so happy.
I would still recommend it.
Yes, 100%
Yeah,
recommend.
definitely recommend this book. Not like
Mhm.
our last one.
Oh,
You had to bring it up, Rose.
Sorry, guys. Cut that out.
cut that out. Editing Lauren.
Ah,
It's not your fault. You didn't write that book. Okay,
I literally feel responsible.
don't. Anyways, recommend this one.
Yeah.
Highly.
Yeah. So good. So good.
Should we say what we're gonna be doing next?
I feel like Carlos should announce it.
Me? Why me? Ah,
Carlos is gonna announce our next read that
okay. Our next episode is gonna be. I am not looking forward to this at all, by the way. Twilight by Stephanie Meyer.
This is the skin of a killer, Bella.
I'm dead.
Listen, some of the best episodes come out of you not being excited for a book, so.
True. You know what's funny? Today I literally watched a YouTube video about how bad Stephanie Meyer's writing is.
Oh.
So
Fuck.
I can't wait. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
And for Twilight, we are going to have a New York Times bestselling author joining us on the little potty waddy. So it's going to be.
Potty
Not
waddy.
the potty waddy. It reminds me of my squatty potty. No.
That's all I got.
That's all I got.
That's all I have.
Thank you guys so much for watching. You can find me on Instagram at Kingdom of Books.
You can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Flower Reads a Lot.
And you can find me on Instagram at Lauren H. Writes, as well as YouTube under Read Anything Good. And you can find our podcast at Control Your Shelf _pod on the Instagram. So, and like all the other little podcasts.
Yeah, anywhere you get your podcasts from.
I'm going to go before the blight gets me.
Check the monitors.